Good morning. We are Taylor Teeters and Gracie Flosspuller, and we read Organizational Proctology, Field Notes for Dealing with Asshats in the Workplace.
Do you ever get up some mornings and not feel motivated to go to work just because you may have an asshat in your workplace that may be your boss or just somebody in your workplace in general? So I think this book does a really good job explaining how to deal with them, because it may be a period in their life, or it may just be their attitude in general. So I think it does a really good job explaining how to deal with them. Also, this gives you questions to answer, because you may be that asshat in the workplace. So you can learn if that's you and how to fix you. Also, the book was wrote by Dr. Pete Hammett, and he's actually a guest speaker at Purdue. It was published May 5th of 2019.
So we get many different points of views in this book, and with Pete's perspective, it involves 25 years in the talent management industry and consulting, leading me to believe it's an unbiased opinion. He provides a lot of research studies and case studies that have been done with the American Psychology Association. And so those are used really to explain the impact that working with asshats have in your work life, home life, and just different perspectives like that. And so leading off that, the audience would be anyone in the workplace, particularly HR people that are dealing with resolving these issues of dealing with people that are intolerable or difficult to work with their employees, either their employees or their coworkers. And then throughout the book, it gives an amusing tone, but yet it takes a serious approach to figuring out how to tell a story while the reader's learning. And so he does a really good job of crafting different situations, which we can learn different impacts of what that situation does to a workplace environment. And why was the book created? It was created to let people know that they're not alone, and there's always going to be an asshat in the workplace that is intolerable to deal with. And so it gives you steps on how you can best create efficiency in the workplace. It gives you the experience and knowledge to know what to do when you're faced with these situations. So the context of when this book was released, baby boomers were in the workplace, and so that leaves them in higher exec positions, and with graduating students and people in their 20s and 30s starting to move up in a company or start introducing themselves into certain industries, it draws a fine line between them being arrogant and confident. And so they have to find that fine line in the workplace and not go over that and make it intolerable to deal with different age gaps. And this was also a time when Trump was president, and it talks a couple of times in the book about how civic leaders can give the nation that they're leading or the population that they're around a different idea of the approach and the way people act. And so that could have something to do with different things. And it also talks about the efficiency factor and the impact of working with either managers, your boss, your coworkers that are having this impact on you working and making it a toxic environment.
Okay, so I think this book does a really good job relating to things that I've learned at Purdue, but I think especially it relates to talent management, because it talks about how if a manager has this attitude of an asshat, it affects the employees around them, and also that can trickle down, and then it can also affect a company as a whole. Also, for students, 430 students that are going into the workplace, you may run into somebody who is an asshat in the workplace. So I think this does a really good job showing you why they act this way and helping you deal with that. And then also, you may be that person who is taking that higher role of somebody who is older than you, and they may not like that. And so they may have an attitude towards you. And so you reading this book will help you deal with them and help you have communication with them.
So to conclude, The biggest conclusion that we have from this is that dealing with talent management and managers' abilities to resolve issues and get efficiency back on track. And so the book gives us some statistics, and it goes through different levels of asshats. And level 3 through 5 has an 8% decrease in teamwork effort, a 38% decrease in their work quality, and a 63% increase in lost time avoiding the asshole or the toxic person in their work environment. And so I think this is a really super important statistic, just because if you're seeing that many decreases within the work environment, obviously it's going to have an impact on the quality of work that your company is putting out. And so not only is it impacting your team, it's impacting your business. Your customers aren't going to be happy with the work they're receiving, and it's going to create a downward spiral that can crumble your business. And so to kind of give you a framework of how to take care of yourself, in the book, it talks about anchoring yourself in encouragement of loved ones and validating and prioritize what's important. And then you need to get in the right frame of mind. Unjack your brain so you can put stress-related emotions on the shelf and weed out false choices. And it also gives you the options to do reality checks. Realistically assess the likelihood that the organization or asshole will change, and realistically assess your readiness for change. And so it gives you some options when you're dealing with these conflicts to go ahead and go through and kind of weed out your choices and figure out the right boundaries for you to set and not to cross the line, while also maintaining efficiency in the workplace.